Hi everyone, I'm really excited for today's video because I have finally received the colour cubes all the way from Australia. So just a little bit of background and recap on what this is. A couple of years ago, if you've been with this channel for a long time, you will have seen this, but I'll put it in the link in the description anyway. I did a video showing you the colour catalogue from Sarah Renee Clark. And this was an interactive PDF file of colour palettes that you could search by colour, by keyword, by theme, and it would just help you to find the perfect colour palette for your colouring work or whatever else it is you wanted to use it for. It was just a really handy resource of all these colour palettes in one place and very easy to navigate. Then came the Colour Catalogue 2, which was another 250 colour palettes in the same format, the same interactive PDF. But a lot of people asked me, and I think millions of people asked Sarah, when are we going to have, or can we have, a physical colour catalogue? So Sarah thought long and hard about doing a physical book version of the catalogue, but I think it just would have been maybe too big, too cumbersome. In the end, she came out with something even better than we could have ever dreamt of. So that has come to fruition, and they are the colour cubes. So if you were looking for a physical version of the colour catalogues, then you found it. So as I say, these have come directly from Sarah in Australia. This is the box that they came in, obviously with packaging and things around it. But I just wanted to show you the box because it's a branded box as well. And I thought that was really cool because normally you would get something in, a plain box, but Sarah's had this one printed on as well. So you open it up and you've got this little new world of colour inspiration awaits inside message. And this is where the colour cubes would be. But obviously I've taken them out because I wanted to show you them together without having to fiddle about with the box, because they do fit perfectly into the box. So you've sort of got to finagle them out a little bit. But here they are. These are the colour cubes. And if I just take off the lids, you will see that the underneath, and they're the wrong way around, of course they are, because that wouldn't be a smooth reveal. Underneath the lids, we have volume 1 and volume 2. So you'll be able to know which volume you're looking at by the colour. This one is green, and then this one matches up with that green. And this one's pink, which this matches up with. So you know which one you're dealing with every time. So here they are, beautiful cards. And every single card has one of those 500 colour palettes on from the Colour Catalogue version 1 and version 2. So you can buy these separately. You can buy just this one cube, the first version, you can buy the second version, or you can buy both. So the first thing about these cubes, before you even get into them, is the look of them. They are just fantastic. Look, all the way around, top and bottom. This one's got a sweet wrapper attached to it. That's not from Sarah. All the way around the top, the bottom, the sides, everywhere. You've got no, weird writing or off-putting things on there. It really is just this all the way around. It looks like a giant Rubik's Cube. I absolutely love it. It will make a great addition to your desk. It's just a really cool talking piece for a start. What's that? You can imagine people asking. But it just looks really cool, and it's so colourful and everything. It's fantastic, and she's done an amazing job to get the kind of quality of manufacture that she's got here. I think she spent a long time sort of sourcing the right people to do it, the right materials, and yeah, it's just great. So let's have a look at the first colour cube. This is Colour Cube Volume 1. They're both the same format, as you can see. They all have these cards inside, and there's like a very dense foam insert that goes around the edge and keeps them all in place. So that's really, really handy. Now the first card here is an instruction card, just making sure this is focused. Yep. So it tells you what you can use a colour palette for. You can use them strictly as a limited palette, so you can stick to only the 5 colours, I think it is, on each card, or you can expand that palette further. The purpose of the palettes is to provide inspiration and help reduce the creative block that comes in the process of choosing colours. Then it says how to match the colours. So the colours on the back of each card are printed to the edge, so you can place them right up against your media to match the colours as closely as possible. We'll check that out in a minute. They've also got the hex codes for people who are designing on computers or tablets. So that enables you to get a better colour match from the palettes, because obviously when something's been printed, it might not be exactly the same shade as it is on the screen. So hex codes are really useful for graphic designers and people like that. Then you've got tints and shades. So each card apparently includes a 20% tint and a 20% shade of each colour, helping you to visualise the darker and lighter variations if you're wanting to expand your colour range or include highlights and shadows. So there's our instruction card. It also says on the back the colour names provided are an approximate description of each colour as categorised in the colour catalogue. There are 1,000 colour categories included, but you may find the same colour listed twice for slightly different colours where these colours were best categorised. There's too many colours in this sentence. As there is no universal naming system for colours, please use these names as a reference only. So I think Sarah's obviously put colour names on them, but it's not a universal thing. And then, of course, it's like I was just saying about the appearance of colours, they're different on screen and in print. And then you've got all of Sarah's social media info and the hashtags that you can use with your colour cube. So there we go, that's the introduction card. And then the rest of these are all colour palettes. So 250 in this one and 250 different ones in volume 2. So 500 altogether. Let's have a look at a card. Let's pick out number 1. So I haven't actually been through these yet. I'm excited. So there we go. There is number 1. What a beautiful colour palette. And the colours are so rich and vibrant. Like I said, Sarah's really gone out of her way to make sure that the print quality of these are second to none. I mean, gorgeous, gorgeous. Very, very intense colour. So this is a beautiful palette, actually. I really like it. We've got a pink, a red, a yellow, a kind of a beigey, sandy colour, and then a deep green. So you've got the number in the corner of this colour palette, and these all correspond to the digital colour catalogues. So this will be number 1 in the first colour catalogue, and so on. They all correspond, so you can use them interchangeably if you wish. So that's the basic image, and then you look on the back and we've got more details. So there are the colour names that we were talking about that Sarah's come up with: magenta, blood orange, gold, camel and hunter green. We've got, again, those 5 colours that were on the front here on the back, and they're printed right up to the edge of the card, like it said in the instructions. That means that you can, let me think. So if you get, if you've got a swatch book or anything like that, in fact, I'll get one really quickly. I've got my Polychromos swatch book here. And just say, for example, that we wanted to find this magenta colour in our Polychromos, we could look and see what our closest match is going to be. So you would look all the way down, and because this comes to the edge, you've got nothing in the way. You've just got that solid colour. And I would say, I don't know about you, but I would say it's probably going to be this one at the bottom. You aren't going to get a perfect match, or you probably won't get a perfect match, because there's so many variations and shades of colour, but I think that one would be fuchsia. So that's how I would use the edge-to-edge colouring samples there. So underneath all the names, you've then got those hex codes that we talked about for our digital designers. I can't say the word digital, so just excuse me if I keep hiccuping over it. Then on this side, in the middle, we've got the true colours here, the true swatch colours. And either side, you've got the 20% tint and the 20% shade. So it's just showing you colours that would make a good light highlight and a good shadow for this base colour in the centre. So say, for example, that we wanted to use this magenta here. We've already found out what colour that would be in our Polychromos, or near as damn it. And then we can see that we've got a lighter option and a darker option. Now, these are only guides. To be honest with you, this one is probably slightly more desaturated than I'd want for a highlight colour. So I would pick something a little bit lighter and brighter than that to go with this colour to be the highlight. This one's perfect though. Lovely, deep, dark tone here of this magenta. So that's how you use the cards. It's just really nice to have something to hold in your hand, to have a physical product. And I think that's what a lot of people wanted. The colour catalogues are great because they're so intuitive. You can just press a couple of buttons and you've got the exact colour that you want or the exact theme that you want. But these are just gorgeous to hold. They've got like a soft touch. The box and the cards, they just feel beautiful to hold. And, you know, you really are getting a quality product for sure. So we'll have a look through a couple more of the palettes. I'm really worried about getting them mixed up, so I'm just going to take them out like this. So we've got number 2 here. You've got the photograph that they're taken from, and then the swatches that have been pulled out, the colours that have been pulled out. And again, on the back, all of the different colours and shades. And there are some beautiful, beautiful palettes here. As I say, if you've had the colour catalogue in the past, you will know these palettes because they are all the same. But I am really pleasantly surprised at the quality. I shouldn't be surprised really, because literally everything Sarah touches seems to turn to gold. She is just fantastic, and her channel has exploded massively over the short time that she's had it, and I could not be happier for her. She's a lovely girl, and yeah, I'm just so pleased she's doing so well. But everything she produces seems to be really, really well thought out, with the colourist in mind. You know, even just to this small detail of having these at the edges, you know, she's really thought about how to design these to best serve the audience, I suppose. So just looking through it, they're gorgeous. They're like a matte kind of feel as well. So that's really nice. I think when they're shiny, obviously you're looking at them under a light, you're going to get a lot of glare and things, but these are matte. They're just beautiful. Look at those colours. It just gives you ideas of colours to put together that you would never have thought about before. So there's some colours on here that you wouldn't think to put together, you know, a raspberry and a mustard. And it's, I mean, you would think of this as like a pink or a pinkish red and a yellow, but there are so many different tones within the yellow colours and the red colours, as you know. It can be difficult sometimes to think, well, I want to do something different. I don't want to have a perfect red, a perfect blue, a perfect yellow, the primary colour, you know. I want something a little bit more muted, toned down, or pastel, or just different shades put together, but I don't know how to put them together in order for them to look good. And that's what these do, if that makes any sense at all. So we've got another one here. These are like really bright colours that I was just talking about. So that's fantastic. But then you've also got, let's say, well, this one is a really nice collection of tones. Deeper, sort of less in your face. And I guess these will be quite pastel-y as well. Yeah, see, just thinking about putting what kind of pink or peach that you could put with browns. You know, it just really, really helps. It helps me anyway. That's lovely. Get that one. Raspberry, salmon pink. They've got, I could just touch them all day. They're absolutely beautiful. Honestly, nobody will be disappointed with these. If you've ordered them and you haven't got them yet, I can't wait for you to receive them because they really are beautiful. So we've looked through some of the cards here in volume 1. So I'm going to put that to one side. Let's have a look at volume 2. Now we know that we've got the same sort of thing, but they are different palettes. I must stress that they are different. So you've got your instruction card again, exactly the same thing. And then we begin in volume 2 with number 251. So it carries on. You haven't got 1 to 250 in volume 1 and then 1 to 250 in volume 2. It's actually carrying on from the first 250. So that's a really good idea because it makes it easier if you've got both cubes to randomly pick a palette, maybe using a random number generator. So you could just put 1 to 500 instead of putting 1 to 250 and then having to choose which box and blah, blah, blah. I know you could do that. It's just I find it easier this way. So 251 is actually a really gorgeous palette for this time of year. We're getting into that autumn Halloweeny season. Just look at these colours together. Stunning. Let's have a look at a few more. So we've got 252. Again, really nice colours together. The teal and the orange just really go well. What have we got here? We've got a guitar. And these are interesting colours. They're very dark and well, I say dark, these aren't dark, but it's a very muted colour palette, this one. It's interesting. And then, oh, that's gorgeous. Look at these icy blues. Gorgeous. So I'm not going to spend too much time rehashing the same sort of thing over and over again, but I think you've got the gist of, you know, how this works now. This product is beautiful. So what can we do? Well, we're going to use them for their intended purpose, and we are going to randomly choose one of these palettes and colour a picture so we can see it in practice. We can see it, you know, how it's meant to be used. And yeah, so apart from anything, it's a gorgeous physical product. It's something you want to have on your desk. You want to look at every day. It's going to make you smile. It's beautiful. It's been very well made. and it's practical as well. So what more can you ask for, to be honest? Right, so what I'm going to do is I've got that random number generator ready to go, and we've put 1 to 500. Let me just make sure you can see this. Yeah, so we've put 1 to 500 in the generator. I'm going to press generate, and then we're going to go and find that colour palette, and that's going to be the one that we use. No matter what colours are on it, we are going to use it. So fingers crossed for a good one. We've got 317. So because that is past the 250, we're going to be into volume 2. So I'm going to put volume 1 to one side. Also, I should mention that these cubes have been designed so that the colours follow along all the way around. They go in order. Look at that. So we turn it around here, you've got your purples, blues, greens, and then you've got your pinks, oranges, and that turns into yellows, which turns into greens, and it's just so good. Right, so number 317. So I've picked out 313 straight away, so we're really on the money. So we're looking for 317. Oh, it's the next one. What's it going to be? 317 is this one here. Oh, I like these. These are proper Sarah Renee Clark colours as well. This is one of her like signature colour blends, the pink, the orange, the yellow. But then we've also got this outlier, the black, which is completely contrasting to everything else on there. So it's going to be very interesting. So let's have a look at the colours we've got. We've got magenta, salmon, marigold, gold and black. So what we need to do first of all, I guess, is find the colours in our collection that match up to these colours. Now, Sarah's obviously made these names. They're not universal names, as we mentioned earlier. So I wouldn't particularly call this salmon from what I would call a salmon colour. But again, you just do your best to find whatever it is that you've got in your pencils. And the great thing about this is it's not brand or material specific. So you can use it with pencils, paints, markers, gel pens, anything you want, as long as, you know, you can sort of match up thereabouts the colours on the card. If you do find it hard to match up colours with swatches on a page, Sarah's even covered that for you. So she's created the colour catalogue companion, which can go along with the cube and the original colour catalogue to tell you exactly the pencils from all these different brands that you will need for every single one of the 500 colour palettes. It could be Luminance, it could be Coloursoft, it could be Inktense, it could be Copic markers. She's done all the hard work, and you can actually buy all this as one set. So you can have the digital colour catalogues, you can have the colour cubes, and you can have the colouring companion to go beside all of those and pick all your colours out for you, all for one price. So again, links in the description. Now, because I know that not everybody is going to have or even want the colour companion to go alongside the colour cubes or the colour catalogue, I'm going to do it the hard way on this video, and I'm going to find and identify the colours myself from different pencil sets. I'm not going to use Prismacolor or Luminance because I seem to use them quite a lot, and I do want to diversify the channel a bit when it comes to different materials that we use and things. So I just wanted to give you a little sneak peek at Sarah's suggested colours for this particular palette, number 317. So this is taken from the colouring companion, and as you can see, there is space for you to fill in the colours themselves with your pencils or pens, and you have the numbers there ready to go, so you don't have to do any of the hard work. They're all ready, but we're going to do that hard work today. We are going to pick the colours as best we can from all different kinds of sets that I don't usually use, so wish me luck. So I've got a piece of paper ready for us to swatch our colours so we can match them up against the edge of the chart. First one we need to find is a magenta. So I have grabbed my Derwent Lightfast pencils because they were the closest ones to me. And I know we've got a couple of nice deep pinks in this, so I'm going to give it a go. We've got this one here that's called Deep Rose. We've got Bordeaux, and we've also got magenta itself. So I want to try all three of those against the card and see which one matches up the most. This one is the Bordeaux colour, which is quite dark, but might make a really good deep magenta colour. Then we've got the Deep Rose, and then we've got the magenta itself. So the idea is that you put this edge of the card up to your colours, and just see. In fact, it might be better if I zoom in for you and just see which one matches up the most. It isn't going to be a perfect match 99% of the time, but if you can find something as near as possible. See, I would want to say that this middle one is around the same tone, but it's just not quite as pink. So you can use this just as a guide and then decide what you want to do colour wise. You know, you might decide, well, I want it to be a bit brighter than that, so I'm going to go for this one. Or you could keep it nice and deep and dull and go for this one. It's totally up to you. I think I'm going to keep those two pencils out for now, those two end ones here, and just see with the other colours on the card which one looks better. So the next one that we have to look for is the salmon. Now immediately when I look at this colour, I see a red coral pink sort of fusion, which is quite a difficult colour, believe it or not, to find in coloured pencil kits. They don't often have this kind of coral colour. Instantly I'm reminded of the Posca pencils. I know that they've got a beautiful coral, and I just want to check. Let's try these three here. I don't think they have names. They've got numbers though. So this one is number 66. I'm going to put this down here. And then we've got number 16, which is a bit too red, I can tell straight away. And then we've got number 4. So these are the Uni Posca pencils. So this one I think is going to be too orangey. This one is too red. This one is what I'm thinking we're going to use. So I'm going to put it up to the edge. Now it's going to be darker, I know that, but I think it might be a really nice colour to use. It's quite unusual. It's a mix of pink and orange, and like I said, you don't often get it in colour pencil sets. So I'm going to leave this one, number 66, up at the top with the Derwent Lightfast so that we can decide at the end. Now we've got Marigold, which is an orange colour, but it's a little bit more desaturated than a bright orange, a bright in-your-face orange. So I'm thinking, let me see what else we've got around here. Is there going to be anything in this Derwent drawing set? We might be able to use this for the next colour, which is the gold. But I can't see anything that really would match with the Marigold on there. So we'll keep that in mind for a minute. I'm doing this all completely by my brain and thinking what colours I've got. So let me have a look in this pack. What have we got? Oh, these are our teasers. So I bet there'll be a Marigold colour in here. Let's test. I think there is actually one called Marigold, you know. Let's test this one. Tuscan Sun. See, that's a bit more like the gold colour, isn't it? We need something a bit oranger than that. So let's try Pumpkin Orange. Too bright. I want something a bit duller. Do we have anything duller in here? What's this one? Turmeric yellow. Let's have a look. No, it's too yellow. This is why it's a good idea to swatch them out beforehand. What's this one called? Yellow ochre, but it's too yellow. What's this one? Rust orange. We're getting closer. A little bit probably too warm and too brown, but we're getting closer. I just want something a little bit lighter than this rust orange. I don't know whether this pack is going to be the right decision. We might have to move. Let me just try this earth red. Yeah, that's just too pale. Okay, so that's the art teasers out the way. Let's have a look what else I've got to hand. What have I got in this pink pencil case? Black Widow. Let's see. So oranges. Let me just zoom out for you so you can see a little bit of what I'm doing. Okay, so I want something that's orange, but it's also deep orange. It's not bright orange. Let's go for, what's this one? This is called Sunset. Oh, it's bright. It's too bright. But like I say, we don't have to match it up perfectly. We can just go with, you know, what seems right or what's closest. I think these are all too bright in here, you know. This is a nice colour. What colour is this? That's quite a salmony colour actually, isn't it? What's that one? Saffron. Right, we're going to have to move on to a different set, because I do want to get just that little bit closer to the colour. These are Castle Arts. Let's see what we've got. Castle Art pencils. That one might be a bit too brown. It's a yellow ochre. Yeah. I'm thinking I might go back to this one, which was, I believe, the rust orange in the set of Artezas. Let me just have one more look around at what I've got here. Let's see. Oh, these are pastel colours, so I doubt we're going to find what we're looking for in there. Okay, I'm going to go back to the Arteza. So let me just find them. I'm so disorganised. Right, Artezas. It was the rust, wasn't it? Rust orange. I think that'll go quite nicely with the palette anyway, this one. So I'm going to put it here and say that that's going to be our marigold colour. See, I could probably find a lot closer matches if I got out my Prismacolors or my luminants, you know, the ones that I use the most. But I sort of want to challenge myself a little bit to not find the exact perfect colours and just get a little bit close to it, but not perfect, because I don't want anyone to think they've got to match perfectly. We can make this work without doing that. So I'm just going to put these to one side, the colours that I think we're going to choose. So that's that coral colour. And then I'm still unsure about this one. Next up, we have got gold. So for gold, I did mention the Derwent drawing, didn't I? And that's this one here. This pencil is called Yellow Ochre. So if we put that down, let's have a look together. That's a pretty good match. It's probably slightly duller. It's not as yellow, but it's a good match. I'm sticking with it. So we're doing that from Derwent Drawing. Now finally we've got a black, which is super easy. I'll just stick a black out there. Let me see. Let's just get the ivory black from the Derwent Drawing, because we've got that out with us already. Okay, so we just need to decide now whether we're going to have this pinky magenta or a bit more of a purpley, deeper magenta colour. So I'm going to put my yellow ochre over here. These are going to be our final swatches, and the black. And then we've got our two magentas. So I think we should go for the deeper one. This is called Deep Rose, purely because this one is quite bright, and we've got a really bright coral colour. We've got, you know, a really intense orange. So let's put this one next to it and see what they look like. That is a pretty neat palette, if you don't mind me saying so. So yeah, really pleased with that. And it's not a set of 5 colours that I would have chosen off the top of my head. So the card has already done its job. I'm going to put this magenta away, and then we're going to see what page we're going to colour with it. Okay, so I've got the pencils all nice and sharp. I've also decided that I'm going to give myself leeway on a lighter colour, a darker colour, and a white pencil if I need to. But these are the base colours that we're going to be using that we chose earlier. So I've got an idea about this truck looking a little bit rusty, a little bit beat up, a little bit battered. I'm not sure whether I'll be able to put down on paper what, you know, is in my mind, but we'll give it a go. So I'm going to first of all start with the truck and give it a base of this yellow ochre from the Derwent Drawing set. So let me zoom you in. There we go. So I'm just going to give it a really light base of this colour. I'm not really used to colouring lightly and layering up and things like that. It's not my preferred method of colouring. I do like to go in there quite heavy, but I'm giving it a go for this because I just want to see what we can do with this palette. So it's just the wooden bit here that I'm colouring at the moment. And then I want to add some spots of this rust orange from the Artezas, maybe just in certain areas. And again, I am colouring very lightly, just so that each panel looks a bit different. It looks very natural. We're not doing anything that's perfectly symmetrical or the board's exactly the same. I just want to mess around with it a little bit, this one, which is totally different to how I normally like to do things. I do normally like to have a bit of a plan in place, at least in my own mind, of what I'm going to do. I'm just going to put little bits of this rust orange all over, really. There's nothing planned about this whatsoever. But hopefully this will just give you a look into how you can use the palettes and how they can give you different inspiration than you might normally have on your colouring pages. This is usually something I would colour pretty solidly with a gradient. You know, maybe I would put a few lines in for wood texture or something like that with a fine liner. But I'm trying to make these colours work with each other. And I guess it's just trying to figure out ways for that to happen, especially when you've got colours. These ones are quite good together, but you might have a palette where you think, oh, how am I going to put this random yellow and olive green and bright blue or something together, you know? And I think it just makes you expand your imagination a little bit more, I suppose. So there we go, we've got a bit of this rust orange all over. Scarily, I'm going to come in with the black. This is the ivory black from the Derwent drawing pencils. And I think I just want to do some little scuffy areas. Honestly, this is all playing by ear. I don't know how this is going to turn out. I haven't got a reference image for it or anything. I just looked at these colours and thought, right, I'll give that a go. So I guess this is trial and error. Probably going to be error, but we're getting texture already, which is a good sign. And when you've got this sort of rough looking texture, nobody can really say that you've done it wrong or you've put it in the wrong place or it's not how it's meant to be, because how was it meant to be? There's no rules to it. So you could just easily say, no, that's exactly what I envisioned, even if it goes wrong. Okay, so just, I don't know, I'm just adding in bits here and there. And hopefully it'll work out. Okay, so that's our first layer done. I'm going to start layering up a little bit more now. So we'll go back to the yellow ochre, fill in some of these areas that need a little bit more burnishing. You are going to probably drag on that black because you're using a yellow and you've got black, and there's absolutely no way that you're going to miss the black. I don't think you're going to end up dragging it a bit, but I think that is going to add to the battered, beat up truck sort of look that I'm going for, with a bit of rust and a bit of a different look to the wood than you might normally have. Just filling in a little bit more intense colour, I guess. So you can definitely see more of that yellow ochre saturating the area now. And we've got a rust orange again, and I'm being just slightly harder with the pressure, and that is going to hopefully give us a bit more intensity to the colour. Now with this being, or meant to be, a bit like beat up looking or whatever, I don't want it to be super bright, vibrant, smooth, beautiful colouring. I want it to look a bit rough. I want it to look a bit uneven, which pains me to say, but that's what I'm going for. So I really don't mind if it turns out looking like a bit of a hot mess in some areas. I'm even going to go over some of this black with the rust. So almost like using the black as a base colour for the rust, you know, and this is going to make it look a little bit less solid and on its own, I guess. It's going to deepen the rust orange. But it's still dark enough as black to maintain the integrity of its own colour. So it's not just there as to be a darker version of the rust orange. You can still see that it's definitely black. Okay. Oh, I really like that actually. You need to take a step back and just look at it. It's not this is not a way that I would usually colour. So, but I like it. Right, so a little bit again of the yellow ochre, just here and there. I don't want to lose that light colour. And I think it might be an idea to maybe use a blender pencil a little bit. Just put a bit more rust orange over here. With this being quite sharp, I do like to keep my pencils nice and sharp. We can create some texture this way as well. So we can probably use this rust orange rather than using a blender pencil and smoothing, because I don't really want to smooth it on thought again. I do want a bit that textured look. So if I maybe use the sharp edge of this rust orange just to add a few lines here and there, which will hopefully end up tricking the eye into thinking that this is wood panelling and it's got that texture to it. We can do the same thing with a very light hand of black. I don't want to do too much black, but we can sort of like extend these lines just a little bit with the black, and I'm barely touching the paper. This is a very soft black. It's gonna be deep on the page whatever I do, so I've got to be super careful. But I do like that. I really like that. I think the rust orange is an amazing colour on this. And I mean, if you just look at this palette here, you wouldn't automatically think of this, what's come out of it, would you really? Because, you know, this looks super bright, vibrant, and this is rather more rustic, I guess. It just shows you what can be done when you use an outside influence to inspire you, I guess. So yeah, I am super pleased with that. It looks really dynamic. It looks so textured and really cool. I really like it. Right, what do I do with the rest of it though? That's the thing. We've got the rest of the Carta and that's going to be quite difficult, really. I could use the black and then like a white pencil or a blender pencil to make highlight areas on the black, so it is like a black truck carrying all these beautiful, bright, vibrant, colourful flowers. I just don't know what to do. Let me grab a white pencil. I've actually got the white Derwent Drawing, which is the Chinese white. And again, maybe we could just mix some of these colours like we did on the wooden panelling. So what about the black and the deep rose? I wonder how that would look if we sort of layered them together. Would it look like a bit of a metallic, a dark pink metallic car? I don't know. All we can do is try. I'm going to do a bit of a base with the black. And then I'm going to go over it with the deep rose. So that's the deep rose over it there. And then I wonder if the white will help or hinder this. It certainly flattened it out so it does look more smooth, like a metal wood. That's kind of nice actually, because that little bit of pink or magenta has really softened the black. I quite like it. It seems like a kind of Addams Family sort of colour car. That's just what's cropped into my head. Whether that's right or not, I don't know. Let's add a little bit more magenta over the top of the white, and that will make it look even pinker. I just hope it doesn't turn out like some sort of funeral car. But then again, why not? I'm pretty goth at heart, so why not? Right, let's keep on going with it because I've started now, so I want to see how it turns out. This is, after all, an experiment. So I'm just going to layer my black. I need to go underneath the flower and leaf as well. So just layering that in, and then over the top the deep rose Derwent Lightfast, and that can just go straight over. You can see how light I'm doing the layers because we've got an awful lot of tooth showing. I'm just making sure all of that black is covered with the magenta. Again, under here the same. I don't mind that I'm going out of the lines because I think the finished product is going to be, it's going to distract from any going out of the lines anyway. I want it to be nice, bold, colourful. I'm not really too fussed about going out the lines. So then we're using this Chinese white, and I'm thinking maybe even a blender or a burnisher could do this, to be honest. We're using that to flatten the colour. But also, because it is lovely and bright and white and creamy, it's bringing out the lightness of the pink, which helps. I don't know as if the blender pencil would have that effect as much as the white would. So that's when we come back in with the magenta, and you're able to build a really nice, oh, straight out the lines. You're really able to build up a nice pink that's also sort of held back because of the black. I hope that makes sense. I guess I'm just trying to sort of justify what's happening on the page, because this is not planned at all. So I'm just hoping it works out. I'm going to just put that black across there to create a little bit more of a boundary between this and the wooden boards. But we can use our pink to soften that a bit. I'll just do the same at the top, very thin black line. And there we are. Hopefully you like that. So I'm going to continue the rest of the car in this fashion, trying to make it look a bit like a purple black metallic, and I will come back afterwards because I'm conscious of the time that we're spending on this video. So let me do this bit and then we'll come back and figure out the next bit. So there we go, I have finished the main part of the truck itself. Really love this black pink almost metallic look that I've managed to get just by adding a white pencil. And we've still not deviated from any of the colours that we chose originally, like I say, just with the addition of the white. And I think it looks really good. I'm quite pleased that I was able to create a silver as well just by using black and white, and I'll show you how I did that now on the tyres. So I've got my black, I have got my white, and this is how I created this silvery look. So I'm going to put a little bit of the black on each side of the tyre. Again, I'm not pushing very hard, but this is an extremely soft black, so I'm getting quite a lot of colour payoff. Just making sure it's a little bit deeper in the centre there. And then we're going to use our white to go over the black and then kind of drag it out. So as I say, it does help if you have a very soft creamy white. I don't think this would work very well with a very hard lead. So again, I'm taking the black and I'm dragging it. Same thing on this side as well. And then down here to meet the bottom area. And then just sort of burnishing with the white any of the tooth in the paper so it looks nice and smooth. So you can add a bit more black in if you want to on top of this. These pencils layer really, really well. It's up to you what you want to do, but it just gives it, again, that just kind of shiny metallic look. And maybe tyres wouldn't be metallic necessarily, but I think it just adds to the look of the piece. We're not going for hyper-realism, thankfully. So it looks nice and kind of cartoony, I guess. So yeah, you just keep adding black and burnishing it out with the white however you wish to do it. I'll do it again on this side. Very quick process, but it does allow us to make a silver just by using the black and the white. So yeah, I am pleased with how the truck's turned out. It looks a bit gothic, but it looks kind of funky as well. And again, it's not colours that I would have chosen on my own if I was sitting down to do this without the help of the colour palette. So it really does push you out of your comfort zone, but then into brilliant colours like this, brilliant colour choices that you wouldn't have put together yourself. That's what I like most about the colour catalogue product, is just how much it helps you to do something a bit different. You might be feeling a bit stagnant in your colouring journey at the moment. I know a lot of people are, especially with things going on in the world and stuff. And you might just want to try something a little bit different. And, you know, you can do that by using these colour palettes. So I would say that that's pretty good. I'm still not really sure what I'm going to do on the insides of these tyres. I'm sure I will figure it out. But I do want to get started on the flowers now, because they make up obviously the main body of the illustration. We've got lots of lovely sort of floral colours on here that we can use. Pink, orange, reddish colours, and also the yellow as well. So we can do quite a lot with that. I suppose we can use the black like we did with the white and with the pink to create depth in our colours. It might not work so well with the gold, but we could make it work. So yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and start colouring in these flowers, and I'll come back to you afterwards to see where we're at. So there we have it. What do you think? I absolutely love it. I think it looks really cohesive because we've only used those 5 pencils. I didn't have to use any other pencils apart from the white, of course. And so it all ties in really nicely together. But because of the different techniques that I've used to colour in petals and parts of the illustration, it also looks really dynamic. It doesn't look too samey with those 5 colours on there. Different blends and layering that I've used to create maybe new shades. For example, this purple car, we don't actually have that colour anywhere on here, but we've managed to create it just by the black and the white. So yeah, it's been such a fun thing to do. I absolutely love using the colour catalogue anyway, but just to have something that you can hold in your hand, that you can, you know, hold up to your colours and make sure that you're on the right track. And it's just really nice to have something tactile rather than digital. You know, it's another screen, isn't it, when you're using a colour catalogue on the digital version, but this is a product you can hold in your hands. It's something real and it's really, really useful. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this super mammoth long video. All the links for everything will be in the description, so you'll be able to get either one of the colour cubes or both, or I'll leave a link for the bundle if you want the whole thing, including the colour catalogue, digital versions, and also the companion, which is a really, really good add-on actually if you struggle with matching colours. So yes, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very soon on Colour with Claire.